you made it work for you in a chance encounter as you were doing some Avon shopping earlier today. But the fact is that you have these chance encounters with conversational selling frequently, and it really does allow you to become opportunity makers. So now kind of taking that as the initial skill, it's time to grow your business even more. And so we're going to work on taking the next step forward together as you start setting goals. Here's our agenda. So we'll be starting with your dream. Keeping your why at the heart of everything that you do, especially when it comes to setting your goals, is really going to be that carrot that you dangle, so to speak, allowing you to recall why you're doing this. On tough days, to remember, what? I don't want to be a full-time retail pharmacist forever because I'm building my Avon empire right now. So, keep plugging away at it, right, Navanda? It's just little things like that. That all those things really, help us as we're, just making the business happen. And so it starts with our dream. And so with our dream in mind, we are going to break down goals using the SMART analogy, which you probably heard before, but it stands for, I should say, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals. Those are our SMART goals. And they're essentially what we're going to break every piece of your dream comparable to your goal down into. And then we're going to talk about the measures. Because goals don't have to just be Avon, right? Goals can be, personal goals. They can be anything you want in life, can be broken down into a SMART goal. But for the goal setting purposes here, our measures, of course, are our Avon metrics. And we're going to specifically look at your personal business metrics, like your sales, and your team business metrics, such as your team orders and your total team sales collectively. As we look at the measures compared to our SMART goals, we're going to have some discussion about what to think about where you're at versus the goals that you'll be setting for yourself for the next couple of campaigns. And then I'm going to help you to find some strategies to get there. So let's start by talking about some of my favorite cliches. I'm a planner. So goal setting, these kind of things, like it's in my wheelhouse. I love it. I love it. But I hear things like, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And even for a planner like me, I'm like, ugh, that doesn't sound positive. But the fact is based on another cliche, if you don't know where you're going, you may end up someplace else. So let me ask you guys, in regards to your Avon business, do you feel like you really know where your business is at this state? I'm not just saying your leadership title, but what's making your business happen, or maybe what your business is lacking. Do you feel like you really have a good handle on what that is? No problem, Nabanda. You can type in the chat and share with us then. So Martha, Gloria, do you really feel like you have a good grasp on the health of your business?
I do in a way, and then I don't, because we're going through so many different changes now.
That's a really it's kind of a powerful statement. It's so true. And good for you then for saying, what, I'm going to take control of that and be a part of this coaching program and really understand. And you will really, after completing this exercise, you will really understand. And how about you, Martha? How are you feeling about the numbers, the actual business numbers, and where they're at versus where you want them to be?
Well, I'm not happy at all with where they are.
So but you know where they're at then. So you feel like you have a good handle.
I'm looking at my numbers right now. I printed out my report today, and I'm looking at my numbers. I know what my numbers are, and I know how many people I had place an order. I know how many people I have in my downline. I know what my order activity was. I know what my average order size was. I know what my team's sales were, and I'm not happy with it at all.
So knowing your numbers, you can really take a module like this, an activity like this, and bring it to life by doing some goal setting. You know where you're at, essentially. And so goal setting to get to where you want to be, and then connecting those to SMART goals is really going to benefit you.
Exactly.
So to Gloria's point, and then Nabana just echoed that, it's a really good opportunity right now for you to really be clearly defined on where you're at, because it's so true. If you don't know where you're going, you might end up someplace else. And it really all starts with where you're currently at right now, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to take a second and I want you to read the story. So I'm going to pause for a second. Actually, Gloria, you can't see the screen. Okay, just kidding. I'm going to read you the story.
I said members of the Harvard
Oh,
1970.
yay! Okay, y'all go ahead and read this. So, pretty interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that this happened? Why do you think that the small percentage who had written down clear goals had more success?
Because they hit their goals and they went on and worked toward what they was trying to go for.
Period. Simply put, that's the perfect answer. It's so true. So, let me ask you, and you don't have to answer, you can, but you don't have to, but self reflect. Have you set goals in the past?
Yes.
Avon or otherwise? All right, so
Yeah.
you're familiar with setting goals.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a good framework, right? They keep you on track.
Keep you busy too. Yeah.
They do. It gives you clarity, right?
Yes.
So I think it's safe to say we all agree with setting goals is important. So
Mm-hmm.
let's now start with the beginning. Let's start from the beginning with the end in mind, with your dream. I really enjoyed our kickoff module, understanding each of your whys, each of your dreams. It's important to dream. And when you think about this business and our history, Avon has helped many people achieve lots of dreams, big dreams. I want to share a quick story with you. Um, I had the opportunity on Friday to meet a lady named Pat Pesder for the first time. Some of you may have heard her name before because she is
Yes, I've met her. I've met her.
and she's wonderful, right?
Right, she is. And I'm on her Facebook page.
She's equivalent to Florence Chamberlain. So if you don't know Pat, you probably have heard of Florence Chamberlain, who's in your area.
Right.
And I haven't had the opportunity to meet Florence yet, but I will soon. But Pat shared her story with me and her why. And Pat, just to give you an example, in this campaign that we just closed out, Campaign 25, her team sales were over $140,000.
Mm-hmm.
Her team sales in one campaign. And she literally started the business because her daughter, who was her youngest child, called her a helicopter parent pretty much and said, you know what, she was going to her daughter's school a lot and volunteering. And the daughter was like, you know what, mom, I don't, you've got to find something to do and it cannot be at my school. I think she said the girl was in like middle school. And lo and behold, that set her on a path to research for something kind of like a side job. It literally started as a side job. Now she wanted to make money, but it was a side job. And then she learned of the opportunity to have an Avon store. And that just kind of set dreams in motion. But what I learned about Pat is that she joined for one reason and then another dream was set in front of her. And then she made that happen. And another dream, and then she crossed that off, and so on and so forth. So knowing that your dreams evolve and big or small, that they're all important, you've got to really believe that this business can make it happen because it can. And
Mm-hmm.
so as you think about your dream, you want to start by determining specifically how your Avon business can help you achieve it. And then when you want to achieve it. Or like Pat, maybe it's, celebrating victories, smaller victories along the way towards the bigger dream. So keep in mind that a dream like Pat's might take years to achieve. But again, all of those dreams can have goals along the way that you can check off. So
Right.
give me an example of a goal that you've had that Avon has helped you to achieve.
There's too many to name for me because I've been in this for so long.
Martha,
Um,
I love to hear you say that. Do share.
the first thing that comes to mind is um, in 2003, I had been in leadership. I started in 92 when it came out, and I finally achieved executive unit leader, I think it was in 2003. And my goal was I wanted to be able to, we had never been on a cruise, and I wanted us to go on a 7-day Caribbean cruise and me to be able to pay for it with a 1-2 week leadership check. And in 2003, I was able to do that. And I booked a cruise out of New Orleans to the Caribbean on a Carnival ship. And we had 7 wonderful days. And I, with one check, paid for everything for that trip. And it was such a blessing to be able to do that. And we became cruise addicts. And I had to keep making money so we could continue to cruise. And I've been on 23 cruises
Oh
so
my
far.
goodness. And that was your first?
That was my first in 2003. Yes.
Stop it. Holy moly. You've been busy these last 14 years cruising around.
Yes, we
That's
have.
more than 2 a year, right?
Yes.
Going on 2 a year. That's incredible. I'm sure that
Well,
Navonda and Gloria would
it's
never
our
want to do something
favorite
like that,
way.
right? Amazing. What were you saying?
That's
Your
that's
favorite
the
way to
area I'm used.
travel?
Yes, it's the best way to travel because you totally unplug, and we need to unplug. And we just tell people, well, we are unplugged. You can't reach us by phone. You can't reach us. I'm not going to be on the internet, and we just totally relax and get pampered for a week.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
So you take your husband on these cruises, I assume, right?
Yes, and I also earned a
We
cruise.
all
I
fell in
earned
love with on
I
Friday.
earned an Avon cruise. And it was, I can't remember the year, but Avon had a cruise incentive, and my husband and I went on that, and the whole ship was Avon ladies.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a hoot.
So we have one of those coming up next year
know.
that you'd be working towards right now.
I know.
I love that. So anything else that you can think of? I know Navonda, you're a little newbie, but you've done so much so quickly. Anything you can think of, or and I know you're typing in the chat, and that's fine. Gloria, any thoughts come to mind? Did y'all earn any scratch off tickets during our little scratch off ticket incentive?
Yes.
What did you
Earned-
win?
Huh?
What did you earn?
I earned a 7-piece cookware set, and I earned an umbrella. I think that's all.
You did good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's these little victories to celebrate along the way that really, really make this whole piece fun. So Navonda won the PA speaker. Oh, that's a nice one. So I started kind of the tail on the scratch up incentive. Well, so you definitely got a prize in very quickly. It's nice to be new like that and capture a prize right out of the gates. But these little pieces are all equating to your dream. I know, Martha, your cruise dream was probably not your ultimate dream, but it was a big dream. And so along the way, you have these goals along the way to your big dream. And you got to be specific when you think about it. So I would assume that as you were planning this cruise piece, you thought about, how much money is it going to take? Do I need to achieve a title to make it happen? And then what's my time frame? Because the more specific that you can be with these things, the more likely you are to achieve. And so here's where we enter in our SMART goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound.
Mm-hmm.
This is the framework of our SMART goals. And let's talk about what they are and what they are not, because developing these goals for making your dream happen really equates to success. So what they are a way to establish a measurable set of targets that will basically ramp you up towards your dream and enable you to reach it overall. what they are not are, vague, discrete activities. It's not like a shot in the arm, one and done, single action. It's not like this high level, concept. What do they say? A goal without a deadline is just a wish. It's not this high level wish or thought that you have. It's specific. It gives you a way to measure it against specific metrics. It's attainable, not pie in the sky. I found it interesting in talking to all of you one-on-one. I think you all said, I don't give pie in the sky. You said that in one way or another, and it's so true, right? And for yourself as well, you want it to be attainable. It needs to be relevant. Your goal needs to be relevant towards what your dream is, and then that whole time factor. So I'm going to give you an example of a goal that is not SMART, and then a similar example of the same goal that is SMART, and then I want you guys to share one with me. So one example would be, I want to recruit more. That's not very SMART, right? Because it's not specific, it's not measurable. What's the specificness of that? There's not one. But instead, what if the goal was, I want to recruit one person each month through the end of the year? That's SMART and specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
So give me an example of another goal that is not SMART. Let me ask you this. Have you all, especially bringing in a new person and trying to find out their why? Oh, okay. Let me see Navanda's example, and then I'll go back to mine. I want to increase my sales by double. So you're on your way to the SMART goal there, but that's still pretty vague, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not SMART, exactly. But you add a time frame to that, a
Mm-hmm.
number, an action, then we're talking SMART. That's a great example. And increasing your personal sales is something you should have a SMART goal with. But so let me ask you this. Have you guys ever appointed a new person and you ask them, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve in your Avon business? And they say, oh, I want to make money.
Right. That's what everybody's like.
Right? That's what everybody says. Well, okay, tell me more. How much money? You want them to get you to a point where they're being specific with a measurable, attainable amount. So just, really consider what that means for you. And then as you're working with your team, when you understand the better definition of a SMART goal in setting them, you're going to be able to help your team members do the same. But it's going to start with you. So let's talk about our measures that we're setting the SMART goals against.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your dream and it starts there, but we use key metrics for our goals broken down into two pieces, personal goals and team goals. So breaking down these goals will ensure that our SMART goals are specific, measurable, relevant, the 3 of the 5 letters in SMART. So we begin with the personal goals because that's the start of this business. This is a sales organization and you want to sell first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, your personal goals are most directly tied to your dream. You can impact them pretty much immediately. And as you know, our personal goals include our earnings title, President's Club and above, and our first generation new appointments. And then our personal sales, which is pretty much tied into the earnings title.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts with the personal goals, but because our teams help us to achieve our earnings and our title goals, our next step is to set team goals. So I'll pause for a second and allow you to read the purple box and review the measures for our team goals. So Martha, when I asked you guys if you do your business and you talked about the numbers that you were looking at, it's pretty much everything that's on the team goals.
Yes.
So I feel like you're looking at the right levers for certain. But I want to just be sure before we move on. Excuse me. I want to be sure that you don't have any questions or that you're unclear about the definitions of any of these measures, because these are the measures as you're completing your application guide. These are the measures that you're going to be looking at in terms of your recent performance, specific actual numbers of your recent performance, and then planning ahead for your future performance. So you guys feel good and clear. The personal goals, I think we've all got that, right? We're all President's Cup and above. You get the importance of new appointments that you're bringing into the business yourself. So we're good there. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thought so. Don't want to assume. Thought so, though. And now team goals. So your team new appointments. So everybody that your team is bringing in, not counting yours, your team size. Some people call that staff. Some people call that rep count, but it's the size of your overall team and all of the generations. Your team's order activity. That's the percentage of people placing orders based on the size of your team. And then you have the actual order numbers and the team's average order size, and then ultimately your overall sales. These are all things that you can find in your Vibe, and I'm actually going to show you a cheat sheet that you can find them on that will make it even easier. But just again, when I gain clarity, everybody clear on the team goals?
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys are awesome. Making it easy. So there are a lot of additional measures that you might look at, and truly, they're all important in their own right. But in terms of you measuring success at the highest levels, our most successful leaders drive business through those metrics. So that's why we establish those specific metrics as our team goals and as our personal goals. And again, using your application guide, you're going to have the chance to really dig into these. So let's talk about the things that you should consider when you're working through your application guide and you're setting your personal goals. The first thing you've got to consider is your dream. How close do you want to get to achieving your dream by the end of the 6 campaigns that you're planning for? Or is it a step in the direction towards your big dream? The reason why you really want to ask yourself this is because it's important to align your goals with your dreams. We talked about pie in the sky. You don't want that, right? You want it to really be aligned. And so considering this, something that you really have to take into account is your time. To make your goals happen as you work towards your dream, how much time do you plan to commit to your business? I got to be honest, and you probably heard this too with your downline. I'm always tickled when somebody's like, I want to be an executive leader. And then when push comes to shove, they want to work an hour a day. It's like, those things probably aren't aligned, right? So how much time do you plan to commit? Because if your goals are aggressive, you got to have time to dedicate them. If not, you probably won't be successful. So it's important to be realistic about the time that you can commit and tie that time into your goals so that they are attainable. The A in SMART, want to keep it all attainable. And maybe it just means it takes you a little bit longer to get to that dream. Ultimately, you'll still get there. It's okay if you have to go slower. It's okay. Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Right.
An important step in setting your goals is reflecting on past performance. So the first part of your application guide will include you looking at your current performance, because you need to understand your past in order to plan for your future. So I've already kind of asked this, but just to reiterate, why is it important to reflect on your past performance? What can your most current past performance tell you?
Well, you have to start somewhere, and that's where you start.
It's true.
It also shows you what you didn't do right, or things that you need to do to.
Interesting comment. And when I look at my own business, I want to do what Navonda said. I want to see the opportunity for improvement. I want to celebrate every success, but I also want to understand the impact of my activities and my time commitments so that I can see what's been good, but I can also see where my opportunity is. And in that, to your point, Martha, then you see where you're at, and that's going to help you know what to change or what you're doing well and you need to do more of as you're working towards where you want to get, right? And so I think that it's really, it's a valuable activity. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to give you a cheat sheet. I've debated this. I'll talk about it when I get to that part. I don't want to steal my own thunder. But you're probably going to go into areas of vibe to pull numbers that maybe you haven't been to before. So this is also an activity in understanding, where we find certain numbers. The fact is that we don't live in silos. You don't just do sales and you don't just do recruits, and those recruits don't just bring in, or it all is combined. And so going into these areas of your Bible are really going to help you see how the business combines with one another, really making your goals more clear. And probably enlightening you to things that maybe you didn't know before. So it's a really good activity. It's challenging, but it's important to consider the impact of things on your business. So for example, we know our most successful representatives, people who have just titled, they're bringing in a lot of new appointments on your business. So the knowledge of knowing this will help you determine how many of these things, like bringing in new appointments, that you're going to need to do in the coming weeks and months to grow your team. And the appointments is just one piece. So anything else that you feel like you should consider when setting your personal goals?
Well, you got to think about when you're setting your personal goals, you're involving your team also.
Well, so that's actually going to be in the next piece. But to your point, I just said we don't live in silos. So that's a great segue, Gloria. I appreciate that because it's so true. At the end of the day, what you're doing for your personal business, you want to duplicate with your team. That's what this is all about. It's about duplicating success. So once you set those personal goals and they're established, you can focus on your team goals for the upcoming year. Because as you know, your team's results significantly impact your personal results and ultimately impact your leader title, your bonus check, etc. So to really use an example, can anybody share of a time when your downline's results impacted your personal success, whether it was in a good way or a bad way?
I've experienced both. I've had in the past a couple of good executive unit leaders, and then all of a sudden they quit. And
what does that do to your bonus?
It drops my title and cuts your bonus almost in half.
When you don't make your numbers, then when your team don't make the numbers that they're supposed to make and the sales that they're supposed to make, then it affects your paycheck, your percentages.
Absolutely.
Yep. And think about this. In our new, or I should say our current leadership structure, we have a new leadership structure launching in Campaign 5. And it's very, very similar to what we're working towards now. So what I'm about to say will still be relevant. But let's just take Martha as an example. Martha is a gold leader. When Martha advances in title because of her team, right? She'd advance in title because her team, she set team goals and they're achieving them. And when that happens, just for advancing in title, she's going to get a $3,000 bonus. That's a pretty good thing, I'd say, in terms of a way that your downline's results can impact your personal success. So Martha's going to earn that $3,000, and I bet she's going to go on another cruise. I don't know what she's going to do with the money, but I think that it's clear to see, when you're keeping your eye on the prize in this business, it's really all about making sure your team goals ensure your personal success. And that really comes by setting the goals and then duplicating success. So you want to consider, what does your team need to achieve? Do you need more people on your team overall? Do you need more people on your team ordering?
It depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, or it could be all of the above, right? Does your team need to have higher average order size? Yeah, right. And again, we don't live in silos. It all impacts one another. But as you go through this exercise, you're going to find those things that are your team's best opportunity for growth.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will be up to you to determine what you want to focus your efforts on with your team this year. If you want to impact it all, it's going to be about your first generation recruits and the recruits that your team brings in, because then that's going to impact everything else, your team size, your activity, the average order, etc. Right? But these are the things to keep in mind as you're setting your team goals. And so when you work through this exercise and once your team goals are set and you've considered all the things, ask yourself, again, reflect, are your goals attainable or should you stretch even further? But again, keep in mind the time piece, the attainability piece. And don't be afraid to fail. I want to throw that out there because I think that every successful person along the way has hit bumps in the road. So maybe we need to stop calling it failure, because the fact is if you set goals and you don't achieve them, I bet that your business is still in a better place. And it's not that you haven't achieved them, it's just that you haven't achieved them yet. And you can reset the goals and keep working towards them. And in every instance, your business will be healthier.
Right.
So, all right, you got those personal goals set. You've got those team goals set. So now we're going to ask you to set specific goals for key performance indicators in your next 6 campaigns. So that the next 3 months. And your application guide will walk you through doing just that. So it's going to take the bigger overall goals. And this is where we start breaking them down per KPI. So per orders, per staff, with those SMART goals. So we know why it's important to be specific with this, right?
What's KPI?
Did you say what are KPIs?
Yeah. Keeping it, what is?
Key performance indicators. I'm glad you asked. So for team goals, for example, your KPIs are team appointments,
Mm-hmm.
team size, order activity, orders, average order size, and sales. Good question. I'm glad you asked for clarity on that. And we're going to be very specific in your planning process or in your goal setting process in regards to what you're striving for. And it's all based on those bigger overall goals that you set. And then when you're being specific, I want you to consider these things. What do you need to achieve to stay on track and reach your goal?
Mm-hmm.
You want to consider things like, what season is it? Can you expect more or less from your business this time of the year?
It's going to be less because campaign 1.
So you want to consider that, in campaign 1, some people want to think that the business slows down. I personally like to think that it's a new year and it's a new opportunity for somebody to join our business, to pay off their holiday debt, or to change their life in the new year. And keeping in mind that we have a new product line launching, and I think that Aspira could be a game changer for us. But being realistic, Lori, you got to think about your circumstances and the people that you know, and maybe that does change in certain times of the year. Summer, for example, summertime can be kind of a lull, right? But consider that. Also consider, where do you plan to focus your efforts? Are you going to focus on your current team and re-engaging them to hit your goals? Or are you going to focus on building a whole new team? Or maybe balancing the two?
I want to balance the two.
I like balancing too. And then can you focus on growing your team now to positively impact your business long term? Are your SMART goals going to help you be sustained? So these are just all things to take into consideration as you're setting shorter term goals. Go ahead.
About the season. At a meeting we had one time, we discussed about the season, and everybody said, oh, January's we don't make any money in January. Well, when the manager asked people when they signed up, and I was one, I started my business in January. I signed up in January, and the numbers showed that a lot of people sign up in January because of goals that they have set, New Year's resolutions, holiday bills they need to pay, and just turning over a new leaf and wanting to do something new. So January is a great month to recruit.
Okay. That sounds good.
Did you say something, Gloria? I missed that.
That sounds good. Mhm.
It does sound good. And you know, here's my thought. Perception's reality, right? So if we perceive that January is slow, because we've heard that from other people, right? We've heard that over the years, like January's slow, you know, people are spent from the holidays. Well, you know, the fact is that, to Martha's point, that doesn't have to be true. And in many cases, it's not true. But we do, with the company, have a lot of exciting things that will really help us leverage January and the new year in general. But
Mhm.
you know, you do. I think that the point here is that you're making incremental progress towards your personal goals, your team goals, you know, steps along the way, so to speak, as you're working towards your dream. Um, so as you're being really specific here and looking at your key performance indicators and really targeting a number, you do want to consider lots of things, you know, including personal things. If you're going to go on vacation, you know, if you're going to be having a surgical procedure or something's going on with your family, you just have to really take everything into consideration so that as you set the goals, they are specific, measurable, attainable, you know, so that they put you closer to what that end result is. So
Mhm.
I guess what I'm trying to say, this kind of is a good segue to summarize, is that you want to reflect to ensure your success and ask yourself key questions. And guess what? These are not finite numbers, these goals. These goals are infinite. They can change. They should change. You should cross it off your list, that goal that you've achieved, and then set a new one. But, you know, do constantly self-reflect to assure that your goals are attainable, or see if they aren't enough. Are they enough to really push you and move you? And do your short term specific goals align with your long term, so they can kind of be that ramp to build you up along the way? So, you know, I don't want to get too personal with you, but, you know, I want you guys to ask yourself what other questions might you consider. So anything that you might want to share that you might think of that you would reflect on? Navanda, you know, I don't want to answer for you, but you might want to reflect on your job, right? Like, how busy will you be in your job, and what will that do to impact your goal setting? Anything else you guys can think of that's kind of personal to you?
Well, I'm a caretaker for several people, so their health is going to affect my goals. And if they're having to stay, if they're having to go to the hospital or whatever, their, you know, family, elderly family, so other people's health is going to affect what I can do and what I can't do.
100%. You might have one of those life happens moments, and you might have to adjust your goals accordingly. And then get back on track, right? It's an exercise in perseverance, because Rome wasn't built in a day. But that's definitely
Exactly.
something to consider. So be thoughtful, and you don't have to have these answers now, but as you work through your application guide, you know, do just really check in with yourself for honesty. You know, again, sometimes that honesty is, hey, I'm not stretching myself enough. What else can I do? What more can I do? So once your goals are set, it's important to think about how you're going to achieve them. This is like rubber meets the road kind of thing. And these strategies will determine how you will achieve your goals. But at this point in the game, as you're working through your application guide, these don't have to be specifically defined, because in the module after this one, we'll be planning. So we'll be taking your goals and these strategies and actually putting plans in place, plans that you decide based on your goals, of course, about how you can make it happen. So, how you can continue doing things that are a proven success, how you can do more of your most productive activities, how you can stop doing things that aren't producing results, and then how you can try new activities that could drive results. So I'm going to give you a second to read about things to think about when you're defining strategies for your personal goal in the top box, and then your team goal on the bottom box. So what do they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Truth be told, I probably have fallen into that trap time and time again. I start a new diet every Monday, and here I am on Tuesday and already off the wagon. But the reality is that doing the same thing will yield the same results. Sad but true. So as you're setting these goals and you're stretching yourself, if your goals are different than they have been in the past, to achieve results, then you're going to need to do something different. And so that's why it really starts with the goal setting piece, considering these strategies, and then again in the planning piece, we're really going to bring it to life for you. This is where reflecting on your team, on your goals, on the time that you have to commit, the ultimate big picture for you. This is where this really all comes into effect. So, for those of you, when we first talked, that you said, I need to be a better onboarder. Well, then as you set your goals and then we put a plan in place, your plan is going to be about becoming a better onboarder of new representatives. If you need to grow, that's going to be part of your plan. So let's start by the goal setting, and then we're going to define these strategies later. And I'm telling you what, you guys are going to uncover a lot of really great things that are going to be very specific to your business, and that during your one-on-ones will really dig under. So that brings me to the application guide. We're actually done with our seminar content. So I want to talk about the application guide quickly. If you have it in front of you, you might want to pull it out. If you don't, no biggie. But so your application guide for this module is called Your Goals and Your Strategies. And so by completing this, you're going to outline your dream and then do everything that we just talked about. You're going to set both personal and team goals for the next 3 months with long-term and short-term metrics that we discussed. And then you'll begin to think about the strategies for achieving them that, again, we'll bring to life more in the planning module. So everybody, even if you haven't printed it, everybody received the application guide?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because 2 times in a row, I sent you the email and didn't attach it on the first time. Duh. It's what happens when I work too fast. So I'm here to tell you, based on experience, that you will likely find yourself in a position to pull numbers or need to pull numbers from Vibe that you're not familiar with. If you need help, let me know. I will be more than happy before our one-on-one or even during our one-on-one to get into your Vibe with you. We'll do a screen share. We'll walk through it and we'll find the numbers together, because you're going to need to pull your current performance and your past performance. But I keep mentioning this cheat sheet. And so I want to introduce you something that's only like 2 weeks old. So you probably haven't seen it. If you have, then you're definitely on top of things. So let me show you where you can find this new report, which is called your Leadership Bonus Report. Next time you go into your Vibe from your very home page, click on the reports section, which is going to open up a drop down that looks like this. Mm-hmm. And from the drop down, you're able to click on leadership performance. So this leadership performance report is a static spreadsheet. So it's a spreadsheet that we update every campaign with your actual results based on your actual performance. All of the numbers in the spreadsheet will be the same numbers that you're going to need to input on your application guide. So I already kind of mentioned this. I hesitated to share this with you, and here's why. I think you need to dig into Vibe. I want to challenge you to go ahead and try to answer all the things that you need to answer on your application guide only by using Vibe and digging through Vibe. Then if you get stuck, then pull this leadership performance. Because honestly, this performance report is, once you kind of look at it and figure out how to read it, which will take a sec, but then you'll realize exactly what you're looking at. And then you'll realize, oh, I can just basically copy these numbers. It really does kind of take the guesswork out of it. But sometimes navigating through the program is more beneficial. So that's all I'll say about that. Navonda, I saw that you have a question. Is there a way to log into Vibe without having to log into Avon.com? So I'm able to. I was able to create a username and password with my account number. Can you guys do that? Martha, Gloria, do you know?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Is there a way to log into Vibe without having to go in through Avon.com?
I don't think so.
God,
Not that I know of.
Mhm.
I wouldn't think so because of privacy.
Yeah, gosh. And so Vibe still doesn't have like a an app for your phone, huh? I know they were talking about
No,
working on
not
that.
that I know of.
Yeah, not that I know of either. I think it's been, the buzz for a while, but
So
Navonda,
you use
I'll clarify that to be sure, but I do think that Gloria and Martha are right.
right, you're using your account number, see, and that's, and then you're using your password.
So
And you're getting confidential information about other people.
yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you go in through Avon.com.
Yes.
I do.
All right.
And
Yeah.
I go to reports and then I click on the sales tab and I print all my people's sales for that campaign. And then I sort it from top to bottom so I know who has the highest and who has the lowest. And I do campaign to date sales and
Martha, do you
that
do like a
campaign
planning
only.
day? Like after we close out national?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when we close out on Tuesdays, that's what I do. I print out all my reports on all my activity, all my people, what they've done, what they owe, how much they've sold, if they have a hold order, everything.
So I had conversations with coaches today where we talked about that. I think that we've gotten away from that, and I feel like the most successful representatives and coaches are still doing that. And so that's a testament to your training for starters and your commitment to the business. It's huge because again, if you don't know where you're going, you might end up someplace else. So we need to know where
Right.
we're starting. Which leads me to our hot topic question. But before I tell you the question, I just want to reiterate. So here's what's going to happen now. After this module, I've recorded it. So after this module, I'm going to send it out. You'll all get it in case you want to come back and review some of the slides. But I'm going to send out a calendar tomorrow that will give you times to set up your one-on-ones. Most of the times will probably be on Friday, the end of the week, and then next week. Heed my advice when I tell you, don't wait to the last minute to do your application guide because it's going to take you time. So consider that when you're scheduling our one-on-ones. So our one-on-ones will take this deep dive into your current goals and why you're at where you're at, and then your future goals that you're planning for yourself. And along the way, do not hesitate to call me. We can, aside from your one-on-one, we can get on Vibe together and we can just, we'll work through this. We're partners. We're going to make it happen. Okay. And this week is really good too. If you start working on it this week and you have trouble, because I'm in the office all week long. So I am at your disposal. And so again, we're going to have this calendar with one-on-ones, and that will run through next week. And then not this Friday, but the following Friday, we're going to have our collaboration call, just like we did this past Friday. We'll have it at noon Central Time, and we're going to talk about our experiences and how much we wanted to throw the computer out looking for our numbers, and how eye-opening it was. It's all going to be good, and we're going to learn from each other, and we're going to answer this hot topic question, which is, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? Martha, if you could go on any cruise, I'm just teasing. So where would you guys go anywhere in the world and why? So think about it, and we'll share it on our collaboration call. And between now and then, if you need me, I am here for you. Otherwise, I look forward to our one-on-ones and you're just continuing this process. Trust the process. It's a journey, and we're really starting to dig into it right now. So any final questions?
This is a very busy week, for us. Well, for me, it's delivery week. And I was out all day delivering. I've got deliveries to make all week, every day this week. It is the next 3 weeks of our lives as Avon ladies
Yes.
are the most stressful and the most crammed with delivering orders, getting new orders, trying to do Christmas shopping, do some cooking,
Yeah.
wrapping gifts,
Personal
decorating.
things too, right? We got to find a time to fit in our family to our Avon. And so,
I know. So it's just a
realize
busy
that.
time.
It is a busy time, and that's why I think I'm really adamant about us finishing this module in particular next Friday, because we're definitely going to need, because of the holiday, 3 weeks at least, probably 2-3 weeks. We're going to need to get to the new year likely to really finish the planning piece, which is good though, because that's where the rubber really meets the road. But look, along the way, guys, this is your coaching and I am flexible. You got to take care of your priorities, and this needs to be a supplement to that, not something that's going to be kind of a thorn on your side. All right, I want to close with this. As you work through your application guide, set your goals high enough so that you're inspired by them. Believe in you. Believe in those things that you're capable of. Yes, you got to be realistic. Yes, you got to reflect and make sure that everything's attainable, but you're capable of a lot. So believe in yourself and set those goals comparable to what you deserve and what your dreams are. And then know that we'll get more tactical with the planning at our next module. And between these two things, I'm really excited to partner with you in this segment. I love it. I think you're going to love it too. And again, let me know if there's anything I can do between now and then. Otherwise, stay tuned for more, and I'll talk to y'all on our one-on-ones.
All right.
Y'all,
Okay,
good
good night.
evening. Good night. Bye, guys.
Bye.